Gives it up. Boucher can be off the mark, on the glass, batted around, controlled underneath. Boucher's fouled by James. James furious. No technical that time as he slams it 3 times on the court. And Boucher will head to the line. Foul on James.
Upset about the rebounding.
Yeah, and you're right.
As a Bulls fan, I don't give 2 damns about the Lakers. But as a basketball fan, I'm honestly sick and tired of hearing about the Lakers. And it's one of the reasons why I don't watch none of these mainstream sports shows anymore. The Lakers are currently 29-39, 10 games below 500. They currently stand at 9th place in the Western Conference. Now, if the playoffs were held traditionally, the Lakers will be fighting to get the last seed in the playoffs. But since this is the play-in tournament where you can play up to 10 teams per conference, they can play a couple games till they get to the first round. And the Lakers are fighting just to keep a hold of that. The Lakers got 5, count it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 potential Hall of Famers on that team. And you mean to tell me that team is struggling to remain relevant, is struggling for a playoff spot? Let's dig a little bit deep into why this Lakers team is such a travesty. Let's first start off with the front office. We ain't gonna look at Jenny Bucks. She's the owner. I don't think she makes any decisions, so we're gonna X her out. Rob Pelinka, you know, the guy that replaced Magic Johnson. Hell, let's even talk about Magic Johnson. He the one that convinced LeBron to come to the Lakers back in 2018. At that time, the Lakers had Lonzo Ball, they had Alex Caruso, they had Josh Hart, they had KCP, they had Kuzma, they had Brandon Ingram. They had these young guys, right? And contrary to popular belief, prior to that Christmas game they played that year against Golden State, the Lakers actually were in 4th place in the Western Conference. And they actually were winning against the Warriors that game against LeBron, had that hamstring injury, and that kind of pretty much derailed that season.
James holding his left leg, and obviously his groin area as well. He's shaken up on that play. He may have gotten hurt on the previous play. We'll take a break and come right back.
Magic leaves before the end of the 2019 season. Rob Pelinka takes his place. They go and trade all the young guys I just mentioned, except for Kuzma and Caruso. They trade all the young guys for Anthony Davis. Now, let's keep this in mind. At the time, Anthony Davis is probably a top 5 player in the league, no worse than 10. He was quote-unquote the man on the Pelicans. Gets to LA, they win the title in 2020, but many people are now starting to put an asterisk over that title simply because they won that title during the pandemic. Remember, the Lakers were actually playing very good that 2020 season prior to the season shutting down for 4 months. 4 months go by, everybody rested, Lakers resume what they started doing early in the season, end up winning the title, right? Now, you're getting rid of more of these young guys, bringing some more older guys, and now this is when the age of attrition starts to kick in. LeBron, last year, 2021, constantly getting hurt. AD constantly getting hurt. Kuzma, a shell of himself. Lakers, they have up and down seasons. They play in the play-in, barely beat Golden State, and gets demolished by Phoenix in 6 in the first round. Y'all saw how LeBron walked off the court and how disappointed he was. AD got hurt during that series. So now let's fast forward to this year. And the Lakers made one of the most ridiculous trades, which at the time that they made the trade, I called it right then and there. I said the Lakers are not going to win the title. This is when they traded Montrezl Harrell, Kyle Kuzma, and I think another piece for Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook and LeBron James put together, that is a match made in hell. You can't put them two together. Neither one of them play off the ball. Both of them gotta have the ball in their hands a high number of times. Sure, they get Carmelo Anthony in free agency, and he's been decent off the bench. But you bring back Dwight Howard from the 2020 championship team, and he's a shell of himself. You bring in DeAndre Jordan, ended up having to trade him during the trading deadline. You bring in Trevor Ariza. He missed half the season because he can't stay healthy. And now look at the 2022 season. Anthony Davis, constantly hurt. LeBron, play a few games, miss a few games, go hurt. Put up all these numbers, but those numbers ain't producing any tangible results. That would be a recipe for disaster if the Lakers were to go that route. And LeBron can't maintain that. That wear and tear on his body, man, there's a reason why for these last 2-3 years he's been getting injured. That man is in his 19th year. That man has played at least 3 extra seasons due to all those times he's gone to the finals. So that body, man, it is breaking him down. He just don't want to admit it. And LeBron can't carry no team like he once did. This is not Miami. This is not Cleveland the first time he was there. Let's look at Russell Westbrook. As I stated, that was the worst thing the Lakers could have did. Because now the whole world gets to see how terrible of a player Westbrook has become. I ain't gonna say he always sucked. That's not true. You can't suck and win MVP. But let's keep it a buck. Russell Westbrook was never that #1 guy. And that's the reason why Kevin Durant left him in Oklahoma City. He was trying so hard to be the man instead of being the complementary piece to the man. Now look, this boy breaking shots. He getting bad because Skip Bayless and all these other guys are calling him Westbrook. But, I mean, now you bring your family into it and you want sympathy from the media and from the public because your family getting criticized. Now, don't get it wrong, I don't think his family should get criticized. But let's keep this shit a buck. You start responding publicly, hey, it's a tit for tat. What you see is what you get. But if he don't want nobody disrespecting his name, maybe that fool needs to stop breaking shots. I mean, look at this shit.
From most of the year. Westbrook off the glass, badly misses. You hear the groans from the crowd. He's hearing some boos. Not the first time this year. Randall, not that time. Stanley Johnson the rebound. Pass inside Davis, low in the post, and an easy two for Anthony Davis.
You're turning over the ball. You're not getting actively engaged. You basically giving up. You checked out mentally. And then you going in the press acting like you ain't got no motivation. Like,
I ain't have no expectations.
Man, a few of my teammates, I heard you say that, I request for you to get kicked off the team. But I digress. Russell Westbrook was not the missing link to the Lakers getting back to the top. But because so many basketball fans listen to the mainstream media, they wanted to catapult the Lakers to play KD and the Brooklyn Nets in the NBA Finals this year. Hell, KD is struggling to make it into the playoffs right now. Even though Brooklyn's playing a little bit better, but they in 8th place. And that East is no joke. Anybody can come out of that East, but if Brooklyn come out of it, trust me, they're gonna have to go through hell just to survive the Eastern Conference playoffs this year. So Russell Westbrook wasn't the guy that the Lakers really needed. Why did they miss out on a chance to pick up a spot-up shooter who could create his own shot like a Buddy Hield or a pure point guard such as Kyle Lowry, who would have reminded the Lakers of Rondo when they won in 2020. But the Lakers wanted to have this big three because LeBron, that's all he used to is big threes. Now look what's happening. Like I said, Carmelo, he's been decent. He's been playing his role exceptionally well, but he ain't the answer. Because Carmelo rarely plays defense, and you cannot play him more than 30 minutes, being that he's 37 years old. He's going to be unproductive. Now let's look at the real reason why the Lakers been a travesty this year. Anthony Davis. I ain't gonna lie, that shit was funny when Charles Barkley said he's street clothes. But hell, can you blame Chuck for nicknaming him that? That's all he been in the majority of the season, in street clothes, and I get it. Injuries are part of the game, and it's unfortunate that any player has to sustain an injury. But Anthony Davis, man, that dude ain't got no alpha in him. He ain't got no dog in him. That dude is mentally soft. Why would he get traded from New Orleans? Remember, for 7-8 years, that was his team on the Pelicans. And granted, the Pelicans didn't put the right pieces around him, but he didn't make that demand. And he wasn't balling out of control. He basically allowed LeBron's agent, Rich Paul, to trick him into coming to the Lakers. And now look, now he's on the Lakers. 2020, he was killing. Last couple of years, I mean, he's been putting up numbers, but those numbers aren't conducive to actual winning results.
Getting back downhill, find that guy in the post.
Oh boy, that did not look good. Anthony Davis is writhing in pain and grabbing his lower right leg. That was a bad landing.
He be getting balled up, man. I mean, he ain't going to the lane. He don't want to play center. He want to shoot all the time. Want to shoot threes all the time. Want to conserve himself when he needs to be a dog down in that lane. Need to be dunking on himself. Need to be, shooting short range. But he don't want to do that. He's scared. He don't want to get hurt. I get it. You don't want to get hurt, but man, this is what you get paid $30-40 million a year to do. In conclusion, the Lakers brought this shit on themselves. This was a bad constructed roster to begin with. And do I feel sorry for him? Nope. Because if you Rob Pelinka, you shouldn't be allowing LeBron to give you choices on who to pick or who to bring to the team. You tell LeBron, hey,
Look, we got this player. We're gonna look to pick, we're gonna look to try to get the free agency or during the trade deadline because we can see that this person, they're a better fit for our team.
and LeBron can say Nail Yay, but who gives a damn what LeBron say? You the general manager, Jimmy Buss is the owner. They can override LeBron's decision, and if you want to go, let him. Russell Westbrook, man up, homie. You been breaking out there, work on that shot, or go away for the rest of the season. If you mentally that deranged, Anthony Davis, you should be in your prime, but you getting injured all the time. So hopefully you'll be able to pick up where you left off 2-3 years ago. But real talk, dog, you ain't got it up here mentally, man. People calling you out on your mental toughness. They calling you soft. Because you weren't no alpha in New Orleans, so you damn sure ain't no alpha in LA. And LeBron, don't nobody want to hear your arguing your crime. I mean, many people accusing you of stat padding. Cause you putting up all these points, that don't mean nothing. You want to curse out your teammates for not making a strong defensive effort. You're not making an effort. You're supposed to be the leader. Remember, you call yourself the GOAT. You want everybody to recognize you as the greatest of all time. So lead your team into a championship being GOAT. As far as I'm concerned, you ain't the GOAT. We all know who that is. And he is from Chicago. Michael Jeffrey Jordan. But all this is on the whole organization. And Frank Vogel, reason why I have not mentioned him in this video is because he's the scapegoat if everything goes bad once they start getting rid of people after the season is over. Guarantee you Frank Vogel is going to be the first to go. But then again, which person out there actually can coach LeBron? I can only think of one. Greg Popovich. And Greg Popovich is about to retire. And LeBron don't want that smoke because there's one thing that a LeBron-led team tries to evade itself from, and that is accountability. Because if LeBron went to San Antonio, Coach Pop would have put his feet to the fire. He would have held him accountable for his lack of transparency, his lack of sense of urgency. And LeBron can't handle that because he feel like he'll be on the criticism. And that's why the Lakers are a travesty of the team. As far as the Lakers, Fuck. I don't care about it. Plus, the league, they got all these young, exciting players. You got Giannis, you got Luka Doncic, you got Jokic, you got Joel Embiid, you got my favorite right now, Ja Morant. You got some young and exciting players, man. It's time for LeBron and them to go anyway. And I'm tired of hearing about the Lakers, because why y'all talking about a team that loses every day? If you're gonna talk about losing teams, start talking about the Sacramento Kings and the Detroit Pistons and Orlando Magic, since we want to keep losing teams all over the TV every damn day. Just saying, the Lakers ain't the only team. They are not the NBA. There's a lot of great teams this season. Focus on them, stop focusing on these bums that's 10 games below 500. Who cares if they're in LA? Who cares if LeBron is the man out there? Who cares? They not winning, so why should we be fixated on losing? I know why, because you mainstream sports shows out some big rides. I'm out.
For the Raptors, when it's dead, Scotty Barnes pulls up on LeBron, and it's nothing but net.
The Lakers are already with 2 turnovers, and they look up at that scoreboard and already down double digits.